This might be one of the most important videos I've ever done. I've spent a lot of time on stagflation and inflation, and I wanted to make this video for you. If it helps you, would really appreciate it if you took a second to turn that like button blue. If you hit the like button, it helps get this information out to more people, and it helps with the YouTube algorithm. So it really does mean a lot if you hit the like button on the videos. Thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it. And if you would like to be subscribed to the channel, maybe wait until the end of the video. And if it helped you in some way, would love to have you as a subscriber. Please do share this with some people as well. I would love for this information to get out there to help more people learn about what's going on. Again, this is just my personal opinion. Nothing's to be taken as financial advice. It's my personal opinion. And please also put a comment down below if your opinion is similar to mine or if I've missed out on some points. Would love to see what your opinion is of this situation in a comment down below. Please do that. So stagflation versus inflation, a lot of people will look at that and go, well, inflation is part of stagflation. What do you mean versus? They're the same thing. They're a bit different. So with inflation, you obviously have your cost of goods go up. But with high inflation, this is what Keynesian economics believers believe, is that if you have high inflation, you might actually have low unemployment. Now, why would that be? If the cost of goods is going up, people are supposed to work so they can afford the goods that are going up. That's why they believe the 2% rule of Milton Friedman, who actually got a Nobel Prize for basically saying, let's trick people. Let's make them work harder while melting their ice cube of savings, so they have to work harder to get money to pay for goods going up in price because we overprinted the monetary supply. He got a Nobel Prize for that. Yeah, that actually happened. Anyway, Austrian economics is what I believe in. Keynesian economics is what got us into this mess, because when you have low unemployment due to inflation, sometimes it doesn't work out the way that they intended. Sometimes the tricking people doesn't really work, and you can't just inflate your way out of things. So what I'm arguing is that it's already led to stagflation, and we're seeing the early stages of stagflation right now. It was Lenin, of all people, who said that, how do you get rid of a capitalist society? And I'm going to butcher this a little bit, but how do you get rid of a capitalist society? Well, you debase the currency. That's how you get rid of it. You debase the currency. What's happening now? Well, if the unemployment goes from low to high unemployment, in an inflationary world, and by the way, we're told the CPI is 6.2%. So yeah, inflation is high right now. I could go into detail on how the CPI is just their choice behind closed doors of what basket of goods to include in this, and still it's really high at 6.2%. At the beginning of the year in January, it was 1.4%. Now we're told it's 6.2%. What's the next one going to be? Probably like 8 point something percent, 9 point something percent. I don't know. I'm just a YouTuber, not financial advice. But probably a lot higher than that will be the next one. And the real number behind it, in my opinion, is already around 10-15%. Probably similar to the track record of the S&P, like Michael Saylor said in a recent interview. I would argue that, yeah, and it was also, I forget the other individual who said that it's around 14%. But somewhere in the figure of like between 10 and even 20% is what inflation really is on the things that matter to us. Gas, groceries, the things that actually should be in the CPI figures, and not just the groceries that they pick, the real groceries that we actually get that I'm noticing when I go to the store now, like in a very serious way. Wait, this is up like 20-30%. My gas is almost doubled. So I don't believe their CPI figure, even though it's already high, and even now Jay Powell is saying, oh, it might not be transitory. So there's that. But let's say we go from low unemployment to high unemployment, and this is in just inflation in the Keynesian economics model that we currently have. This is what the Fed actually goes by as a Keynesian model, trying to get 2%, trying to just dilute our money just enough, just dilute the people's money in their savings just enough. It'll be all right. That's what they think. They give people Nobel Prizes for this idea. It's a crazy world. So what does the Fed do? If we get to high unemployment, they go, okay, well, start the money printer. The Fed prints money. right? So the Fed starts printing a bunch of money. Jay Powell says, money printer go burr, here's some money. They drop the interest rates. To 0%. So basically they're saying, please take this money to the banks. And literally BlackRock and like Goldman, they started changing the models up so that they could enjoy this 0% interest rate. And so in this environment, what they believe will happen is this money will trickle down and make jobs. They actually believe this. They believe, okay, we print trillions and trillions of dollars, we drop the interest rates to 0, people can get money for cheap, we're giving it away, we're doing PPE, we're doing all these different things. We're pushing this money in, we're buying all these things to get the stock market to go up. It's got to make jobs. Well, what happens if it doesn't? What happens if we stay at high unemployment and it doesn't make jobs like they thought in the past? And this is what Keynesians believe. They believe if they print the money, it'll trigger all of this and create low unemployment. But in the current world that we're living in, with interest rates at 0, banks like BlackRock, etc., and you could look this up yourself. Again, this is just my opinion. Disclaimer. Not financial advice. BlackRock goes and know what they do? They take all this money printing and they go and they buy assets. They don't make jobs. BlackRock goes to all the neighborhoods and starts buying up the real estate. And then they're going to rent it to you at higher, and they get to control the rent prices, right? That's what they're doing right now. They're going and buying assets, and they're buying real estate, being the main asset. So what happened? That basically the stock market goes up and inflates, but people's wages stay the same or they go down. Just because they diluted the money by 30-40%, is your boss going to give you 30-40% more on your wages? No. But you know who did get to enjoy 30% gains? These hedge funds who are in the stock market, who is in real estate. They got to enjoy these huge gains. Their billion turned into 1.3 billion because they were just sitting there in stocks doing nothing. But if you were working and you're part of the working class, you're making the same wages or going down, and they're just printing more money away, and you're getting paid in a diluted currency. So who enjoys inflation and money printing in the beginning? And this is what Austrians believe happens and why Keynesian economics is so flawed. I'm exposing the flaws with Keynesian economics, and that's actually the next video I'm going to make on the channel. I'm going to go over the difference between Austrian and Keynesian economics. I believe in Austrian economics. So when I'm saying this isn't Austrian economics, it's what Austrian economics believes this is why Keynesian economics is flawed. So when you overly print the money, the people who benefit from this is the creators of the money. And this is literally like textbook in the definition of Austrian economics. The people who benefit from overprinting money, fake money, is the creators of the money. And who benefited? Remember Jay Powell? He admitted, oh yeah, I bought the bonds that then we funneled the money into with the people's money in the bonds that I bought prior to funneling the people's money into those bonds. Was he not one of the creators there? Yeah, the creators and the early adapters. Beautiful handwriting, I know. It's like dropped out around 3rd grade, so it's about 3rd grade-ish, maybe kindergarten handwriting, but I try my best. But who's an early adapter? BlackRock, Goldman. That's an early adapter. So the people who created the money and the early adapters of the money benefit. Now who gets hurt by this? When all this house of cards goes down. And when does the house of cards crumble? When the Fed realizes they printed too much and they've used all the tools in their tool chest to fight high unemployment, and employment is still high, they will then say, we're going to taper. And that's what they did, right? They recently said, oh, we're going to taper in 2022, mid to late 2022. right when Powell probably is going to get out of office and they're not going to have to own up to what they've done, right? We're just going to get the next person who inherits this crazy basket of a mess. But who gets hurt by all of this? It's not the early adapters who go and buy assets that appreciate in value and they just sit on their hands and they make a ton of money off of this situation. It's not the creators. Jay Powell makes a ton of money because he bought all the things that he bought with the people's money. They make a lot. Who gets hurt is the working class. They get hurt because the working class is getting paid a wage that is you're getting paid a deflationary wage. It's either the same or going down in an inflated currency because the early adapters got to get into assets early. And then once the music finally hits, once they say we're going to taper, the dollar plummets in value and the working class is still working for a dollar that is not worth as much. And the wages aren't going up to compensate enough for how much the dollar is plummeted. And that's where we get to a stagflation environment. So just wanted to give a rundown on what's going on currently and how people are taking advantage of the system that it is. The early adapters, the creators of the money, are benefiting tremendously. Once that musical game of chairs happens, all the chairs will be taken by these banks, by all the people who had assets, the very rich, and the divide will get worse than ever before, and the dollar plummets in value, and the working class gets hurt because they don't have the assets. They're renting from BlackRock because BlackRock took our money from the Fed at 0% rates, basically took advantage of the system and goes and buys assets and real estate so that the working class has to rent from them. That's the situation that we're in. The working class isn't sitting on assets like the rich are. And the only people that benefited from this excessive money printing was the rich. It's very scary. Now that I've gone over that, I want to go over why I think we're in stagflation right now. Now, some people think I'm crazy. That's fine. Please put it in a comment down below. I really, really appreciate all the comments because it helps me learn a lot and it helps everybody else learn a lot by reading the comments. I know when I'm on YouTube, the first thing I do is I scroll down and look at the comments. So please do tell me. And so why do I have 2 arrows here instead of the 1 arrow over there, right? Well, to have stagflation, you have to have high inflation, and you also have to have high unemployment. These are the 2 things needed. And when you're in this environment, you have a Fed that's printed too much money, the currency is diluted, and you have high inflation, and then you also have high unemployment where people are not working. Now, people are actually incentivized to not work and just accept unemployment. That's already happening. People are kind of incentivized not even to work right now. And then on top of that, you have technology improvements. And if people don't believe me, and I genuinely believe that this was already going to happen regardless of the current environment that we're in. Now, the excessive money printing definitely is pushing us faster into stagflation. And also the current environment that we're in that's forcing people to work out of home is making companies realize, wait, I can do these Zoom calls? We don't even have to have them come in. Oh, wait, we don't need the office anymore. We could just do these remote. So they get rid of the office and they start downsizing, they downsize. So I think that it actually is going to create more unemployment and we're going to have higher and higher unemployment due to the tech improvements. I think this was already going to happen regardless of this environment. This environment that we're in is only making it way more exponential, which is very scary and why I want to make these videos. So if people don't believe me about the tech improvements, just look at a Tesla factory. Go to a Tesla factory and watch robots make cars. You just got to look up the video for it. You can literally watch robots putting together cars. Eventually, it's just going to be a roll of aluminum, goes in the factory, boom, a car comes out at the other end. And there's just no humans involved. And how many industries are doing that right now? How fast is this technology evolving? Extremely fast. You know, how much more intelligent is a human with an iPhone? Ridiculously more intelligent. And so the technology that we have, education is going through deflation. Tech improvements is causing deflation. People already want to be unemployed. So I am arguing that the high unemployment doesn't go away. And that's what causes stagflation. Now, high inflation, we're told the CPI data is 6.2%. Has gas got any less expensive for you recently? Has the groceries got any less expensive recently? How about rent costs? Rent is going up, groceries are costing more, gas is costing more, and is it going to stop anytime soon? I highly doubt it. And now we have more information on a possible new kind of shutdown going on, or whatever might happen next. We don't know what happens in the near future, but I think that high inflation, and now you have Jay Powell admitting pretty much that it's not transitory. It's almost like we talked about this quite a bit on the channel. All my fellow silver squirrels out there, you know, it's like we almost talked about this non-transitory, that it wasn't transitory the whole time. We talked about it quite a bit, just joking around. But I believe that we're going to continue to have high inflation. I think the real number is somewhere around 14%, at least, and that's on the low estimate. It could be 14 to 20% is the real number, because I think that they don't really include the real data in the CPI. And with the CPI figures, I think they also, it's very similar with the CPI, that they don't include the real unemployment figures. I think there's a lot of things missed out on the unemployment numbers that aren't actually included when we're told these unemployment numbers. And so in a stagflation environment, which is literally, this is textbook stagflation. You have high inflation, high unemployment, you have an economy that doesn't produce. We're already kind of a consuming economy. We don't really produce over here. So you get a stagnant economy and you have people not working while their money is wildly diluted. But why, if we're in stagflation right now, and my theory is correct, why would the dollar index, this is the, if you want to look up the symbol, it's called the DXY, and I highly recommend to follow the DXY. Why is it up above 96? Why is that? Why does it keep going up? At first, I couldn't come up with a good reason why this was happening. And I started thinking about it more and more, and I realized, wait a minute, what happened in 2009? You know, 2007 to 2009, people who had dollars waiting, that's why I've always called them hot potatoes, got very, very wealthy. If you had dollars at the right time and you knew where to throw them and you knew where to invest them, you did really, really well with the hot potato money. So hot potatoes can be extremely valuable if you know what you're doing with them and you know how to go buy assets with them. Now they're just going to keep buying assets and buying a bunch of stuff with BlackRock and Goldman and all of them because they're getting the money for free. Why wouldn't they? But if we're part of the working class, or we're part of, you know, the middle class or even the low upper class, you're trying to time things out appropriately. You're trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to sit on the money right now. Real estate's a little bit high. I think it's going to pull back, and at the right opportunity, I'm going to throw my money at this. So people are sitting on their hot potato money. They're selling off their equities. The stock market right now is starting to pull back a little bit. So people might sell equities and especially sell bonds. Bonds are like a guarantee to lose money. If the inflation rate is, they're saying it's 6.2%, it's a lot higher than that in my personal opinion. What bond is paying that? Like if you own bonds, that's ridiculous. Like it's literally like, hey, I want to lose money. That's what a bond is. So people are selling their equities. I hope they're selling their bonds, just my personal opinion. And they're going and they're putting it into the dollar. And that is why we have the dollar index going up. That's my personal opinion. A lot of people will say, oh, the dollar is just the cleanest shirt in the dirty hamper. I think they're all the fiat currencies out there are not backed to anything. So I think the entire basket could fall, but the dollar just stays higher than the other fiat currencies as it goes down in price, if that makes sense. That's what I think happens next. But this is the current environment. In the very beginning of stagflation, in the very beginning of inflating the money, the people who benefit are the creators of the money and the early adapters of the money. And they go buy assets, the assets go up in price, and they enjoy themselves. But in that beginning process too, people will sit on that money and wait for the opportunity to rise to spend that money on something. But what does stagflation ultimately do? Stagflation ultimately crashes the currency. So what does all of this mean? What am I doing about it? Hopefully, I know I kind of go all over the place. I tend to rant a little bit, but I hope I put it together in a way where it makes sense to you. If it did help you, please do smash the like button. I know I've asked like 3 times. It's annoying, I know, but if you smash the like button, it really does help with the YouTube algorithm. Would really appreciate that. And I don't shoot these. I shoot these impromptu. I don't have editing. I don't have an editor. I just do it all myself. So that's kind of why I rant a little bit, but I hope I do get this information out in a way that it helps you and it makes sense. But after all of this, after this all happens and this is the current environment that we're in right now, the dollar index is going up. They can't stop money printing. They say they're going to taper. I think what happens is, to crash the currency, for this inevitable house of cards to go down, the Fed says they're going to taper. And that means they're going to raise the interest rate, right? And during stagflation, oh, that's some of my best work yet there. Look at that beautiful handwriting. So if they raise the rates, is what they're going to do when they say they're taper. So they're giving away money for free right now. So if they taper and they raise rates a bit, well, that I think is going to be the thing that finally pulls the card from the house of cards and everything starts crashing. I think that is what happens next, and that could be very soon. They're saying it's going to be mid-2022, mid to late 2022. And in the near term, I think people are going into the dollar right now and waiting for the opportunity to present itself when they do this. Now, it might happen prior to them even tapering, but that's not a very good thing to look forward to, because the Fed's already used up all their tools. The only thing the Fed can do now is taper, and when they taper, the markets plummet. Very scary when you realize, wait a minute, you don't have any tools left in your Keynesian tool chest? Your brilliant Keynesian tool chest doesn't have anything left? Powell, Yellen, nothing. Interest rates at 0. You've printed a ton of money. You bought a lot of stuff, like you can't do anything else. No. And guess what? When we did all of that, it didn't drop the unemployment like it was supposed to. The unemployment is still high. It's still going up. And the inflation is still going up. What now? Well, now you have stagflation. And what am I doing in this environment? I'm being one of the individuals right now that is getting about a 20% cash position. I never ever want to have a cash position. It goes against like everything I believe in. But right now, I think it's a good idea to have a cash position, and I'm getting about a 20% cash position together, because look what just happened. Bitcoin had a great pullback here. I think it's down to like 48,000 when I'm making this video. So obviously that's a great opportunity there for me if I believe in Bitcoin. It's also a great opportunity for silver. Silver is ridiculously cheap right now at 22 an ounce, 23 an ounce. I think they're just giving it away. So what am I doing? I'm getting that 20% cash position together, and I'm waiting for the opportune moment, and I'm going to go buy the assets that I believe in at the right time. And that's what I think is happening here. And once the musical chairs comes to an end, what basically happens is the house of cards goes down. And in stagflation, every time we go through stagflation, and the other thing too, we haven't gone through a stagflation environment since the 70s and 80s. It ended in like 82. And that's when they got away with what they've gotten away with, printing and printing and printing into this fake system that we have now and creating this mess. When if they followed Austrian principles, if we had gone by the Austrian economics model, this would have never happened, which is what the country was designed around. It was designed around sound money. It was designed around people working for something, and what they worked for, they get to keep. And what you work for is your time. When you get $5,000 a month, you gave up 240 hours, 200 hours of your time to make that $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So you're willing to give up your time for that money. And when they dilute and inflate the money, this is why Lenin said, how do you destroy a capitalist system? Well, you debase the currency, because that is the money the working class is paid in. Why would people want to work for something that has been wildly diluted while they're making the same? Why would people want to make the same, work for something that is wildly diluted, and not be able to buy the same thing that they used to buy for what they worked for now? That's not fair. That's not just. And that's the system that we have right now with the Keynesian model that Milton Friedman, who got a Nobel Award-winning prize, he got the Nobel Award for Keynesian economics, that got us into this mess. Yeah, that actually happened. But I'm getting a cash position together. The other thing I want to talk about too is I'm not selling my assets to get a cash position together. I'm keeping my silver, I'm keeping my precious metals, keeping my Bitcoin, and I'm trying to get into real estate too, but I'm also timing that at the same time. But I wouldn't be selling assets to get the cash position together. I would be what I would call fiat mining. Mining money together, whether it's whatever you do for your work, whether if you have a business, whatever it is, try to get cash together to have a little bit of a cash position in addition to the assets, because I don't know when the music hits the fan. I don't know when things hit the fan, rather. I don't know when the music stops, but I know that the dollar is way overpriced. The whole basket of fiat currencies is way overpriced, and assets are way too cheap. Silver, Bitcoin, all precious metals really. Real estate is pretty overvalued right now, so that might be one of the things that crashes. But I can't time things perfect. I can only lay out what the scenario is and try to come up with my own theory. And because of that, it makes sense to have hot potato money ready for an opportune moment. I didn't think silver would be down at 22, 23. I didn't think that would happen. I didn't think Bitcoin would be under 50K. I'm not a guru, but I know the long-term approach. I know these assets in my mind are going to be worth a lot more in the future. So I'm timing it right, and I'm making sure I have powder dry, having a cash position ready to take advantage of the opportunities presented. That's the video. That's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. What do you think? What are you doing to prepare yourself if we're actually in a stagflation environment, if my crazy theories are correct? What are you doing? If you don't agree with my theories, put it in a comment down below and let me know what you think about it and what your opinion is of the situation. That's how we can all kind of learn together. Really, I read every single comment and I do my best to even respond to a lot of them, if not all of them. But I want to hear from you all on what you think on this scenario, and please do get this information out to more people so that we can share this. But that is pretty much everything I wanted to talk about between stagflation and inflation. I hope it laid it out, and why we're in this mess that we're in right now is due to them printing a bunch of fake money. Thanks again for watching. If you like the content, please do subscribe. I'm getting closer and closer to 25,000 subscribers. I really want to get to 25,000 subscribers. So if you help me get there and you click that subscribe button, would really appreciate it and would love to have you as part of the channel. Again, the next video I do, I might even shoot it tonight and then post it on a later date. But it's going to be Keynesian economics versus Austrian economics. Again, Keynesian economics got us into this mess. Austrian economics is what can get us out of this mess. And that's, again, my personal opinion. Thanks again for watching. I will see you at the next video.